Mr. President, it's a pleasure for me to present to you this annual report of the President's Council on Aging. This report, entitled Action for the Older American, tells a positive story. Indeed, this past year was a year of progress for the elderly of this country. This report reviews the administration's accomplishments of federal benefits on behalf of the nation's 18 million men and women over 65 years of age. Last year, this federal effort totaled more than $19 billion and encompassed programs in the fields of income maintenance, housing, employment, health, and welfare. But while this nation has done much for its older citizens, there's much more for it to do, and the challenge of aging is to be fully met. Right now, Mr. President, the nation's most pressing problem is one in which the American people recognized last November is hospital insurance for the aged through Social Security system. Lack of adequate hospital insurance remains the number one obstacle in an independent, productive, and dignified life after 65. And I wish to take this opportunity also to thank the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Labor, and the Chairman of the Civil Service Commission, the Administrator of Veterans Affairs, the Administrator of the Housing and Home Finance Agency for their generous contribution of time, energy, and creative thought. And on their behalf, I wish to thank you for giving us the opportunity to work through the Council mechanism in coordinating and fostering a cooperative and unified effort in the service of millions of older Americans. Mr. President, present you the report.
Mr. Secretary Celebrezze, other government officials, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet with this distinguished and constructive group who have lent their talents to helping us contribute a solution to bring happiness and improvement in health and comfort to some of the finest citizens of our land. I'm somewhat envious of the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, really for two reasons. I never quite understand it, but he has as his responsibility one of the most satisfying assignments that any man in the world today could have, and that is the improvement of mind, body, and the leadership for programs that cover a wide variety of age groups, but that mean much to the happiness of most of the individuals in this country. He has successfully presented to the Congress the boldest education program that any committee in the Congress has ever given serious consideration to. He's presented it with confidence and with judgment and with competence, to the point where it's concluding its hearings already in the first month in both the House and the Senate. He and some of his rather outstanding associates, Winston, Mr. Cohen, and others, have presented to the Congress a medical care program, and that the like of which our country has never seen before. He and some of his associates have presented a new improvement in our health research and our health facilities that will completely revolutionize our living. And he's done all this in his own quiet, unassuming, effective way, with a bunch of little fights, barking at his heels now and then, but never with a moment irritation, and with rather substantial results. So I would like to have your job, because you must go home satisfied at night that you have done a lot for humanity that day. And I'd like to have your record of being able to work with the Congress as you have. Now, I realize that there's some tough days ahead, and I don't want you to hat get too big for you, because we have our problems in all the committees. But I think it's phenomenal that during the month of January you should have made the advances on medical care, on education, on health facilities, on improvement of your personnel, as you have done. And I'm glad to recognize it here this morning. I want to congratulate the members of this council on aging, and I want to commend them on the high caliber of this fine report. I have observed that it is organized and presented in such a way that I would hope that most Americans would have a chance to view it. I think our government has done much in recent years to meet the problems of the aging. When I came to Washington, we were doing nothing. Social Security was not even talked about. Old age assistance was not prevalent, and it took the combined efforts of President Roosevelt and Huey Long and a good many others to dramatize a situation where we could really have the government do anything for the aging. Up to that time, most of our elections had been run on the basis whether you were wet or dry, prohibitionist or anti-prohibitionist, Klan or anti-Klan, or whether you were for the local bridge or against the local bridge. I went through all those as a boy. I never heard of Social Security until I was 21 years old. All I heard was whether you're wet or dry and whether you're for the Gauss group or against them. And I'm glad that we've reached a point now where we can discuss issues and discuss problems and try to not only discuss them, but do something about them. We have before the Congress some 17 messages, and we're going to have some more. And they represent the best thinking in this government. And we hope that they will command the best action in the other branch. We must not assume that we've arrived at a resting point. Medical science and our rising health standards, as we all know, have greatly lengthened the span of life that we'll all live. And now our big assignment is to improve the quality of that life while we do live. We have a great deal to learn, and we have a great deal more to do. There are 3 items on our agenda this morning. First, I'm directing the Council on Aging to continue its study of the implications of aging for our nation's economic and social policy. Specifically, we want to know more about retraining and developing new skills for older workers. We want to know more about providing retirement income through private and public pension programs. We want to know more about the cost of living in comfort and dignity during old age. We want to know more about the use of leisure time before and after retirement. We want to know more about the role of education in later years. It's not just confined to those under 21. And I hope that this council of constructive leaders will continue to spend some of their time studying and researching and thinking about these problems. So I want to call on all Americans to get behind and help us and support prompt enactment of a comprehensive program of hospital care for the aged through Social Security. We're in the sight of the promised land. We just have 2 more big mountains to go over. I hope we don't get hung up on them like Bill Douglas did out in New Mexico. Because we think that the people of all ages should be prepared to meet the high cost of illness in their old age. Action. And there's no reason why we ought to just continue year after year to talk about it. It's time to do something about it. President Kennedy and I went into most of the 50 states in 1960 talking about it. I listened to the recordings of my appearances throughout this nation in 1960. And the deafening applause, if there ever was any deafening applause to anything I said, always came when I talked about a program to provide medical care under Social Security for the aged. So make no mistake about it. The people are ahead of us in this field. They want this program. They support this program. They're going to have this program. The question now is just its timing. Third, I'm going to designate the month of May 1965 as Senior Citizens Month. It's a time dedicated to community action on behalf of older Americans. There are now 18 million men and women that are 65 and over in the United States. Every 20 seconds, another American joins their ranks. Their hopes and their problems are shared by us all. And it's up to us to help them solve them. And what we do for them today will enrich our own lives tomorrow, and I think will enrich the lives of our children in the decades to come. I know of nothing more necessary or desirable. I know of nothing more rewarding or satisfying than to be able to participate in the transformation of the dreams that we have had for our fathers and our mothers and our aging into realities. And I think before the leaves turn brown in the fall, and before we go back to counsel and consult and exchange views with our constituencies, I hope that we can have a book like this filled with achievements and accomplishments, and we can have the, as we say in our country, the coonskins on the wall instead of just a lot of conversation about them. And if we do, no group will be more responsible than those of you that assembled here this morning. Now finally, I think I've outlined some of my hopes for tomorrow. And this land must never be content. This land must never reach the point where we have arrived. This land must always be a land with vision and with hope and with struggle, and be willing to work and move and fight to improve and to better and to, we hope, ultimately achieve excellence. And when we do, we will find that progress will have moved on and there's still a part of the road to go. So thank you for coming here. You will have not only the blessings of this administration and but you will have the very active understanding and cooperation of this virile young vice president. And he'll be here on the job working with you every minute of the day, north, south, east, and west. I see where he's been down in Georgia this weekend facing the elements and getting heated up for the days ahead. Even burned his overcoat, I think. And if If he's not out of the country attending some funeral, he'll be here working Thursday. Hubert, come on over here. I don't know what it cost me. It may take me, but I'm going to give you my honest conviction.